Hello. Welcome back. It's been like 2 months? It's been like 2 months since I last did one of these videos. Way too long of a wait. So yeah. Welcome back to watching the best rated and worst rated episodes of each Star Trek series. We've seen TOS. We've seen the animated series, which, real shame that I couldn't find the 2 episodes to download to show in that video. We watched TNG, and I didn't like the best rated episode, for personal reasons. Then we watched DS9, and I hated the best rated episode for not personal reasons. But today, we're watching my #1 favorite of the franchise, Voyager. I love Voyager. I love Captain Janeway. I love the characters so much. But, we have to watch the worst rated first, sadly. But I guess that means we're ending this video on the greatest episode of Star Trek ever. My personal favorite Star Trek episode of all time is Far Beyond the Stars. But with Voyager is the only one where I agree with the best rated episode. Because I do think that the best rated episode is fantastic. The worst rated might surprise some people, because every single person I said guessed the worst rated Voyager episode. Everyone said Threshold. It's not Threshold. There's an episode worse than Threshold. It's really funny. I think Threshold's a masterpiece. But no, we're watching an episode from Season 5. It's Season 5, Episode 18. The worst rated Voyager episode is The Fight. Even with a title, that's the worst episode. Yeah, the worst rated episode of Voyager is at a 5.1 rating on IMDb. And it's The Fight from Season 5. Chakotay-centered episode that I don't like. Which is a real shame, because I like a lot of the Chakotay-centered episodes, because, contrary to popular opinion, Chakotay doesn't deserve the hate. All the genuinely kind men in Star Trek get hated for no reason. But yeah, this is a bad episode. I'm not even gonna enjoy watching it. Like, that's how bad it is. Okay. It's time to begin the worst rated episode of Voyager, entitled The Fight.
Anything?
Nothing of relevance.
Hey, at least Seven's gonna be in both episodes, so it's great. I'm gonna take these off for the intro. Because I don't like any of the Star Trek intros. There's one I like. It's such a shame, because this episode has such a good premise. Like, aliens that are in a part of space that can't communicate with us the way we do, because they're not corporeal and not linear. It's basically like the prophets, the Bajoran prophets, the wormhole aliens. But it's a great concept, and it could have been such a good episode if they just did it differently. Like, if they didn't have the boxing in it, and I mean, most of it is the boxing that's bad. Maybe his hair knocked it down, because that's horrible. I just can't believe that Starfleet Academy kept a boxing team, but there's only one planet in the entire universe that still plays baseball, and it has like 5 teams. Ain't that the alien that took out Picard's heart or something?
Atta boy, keep him busy.
Where's the aliens? hype man yelling praises at him. Wow, that must have cost a fortune to do. Dude, why weren't the holodeck safeties on?
Pointless violence. That program shouldn't even be in our database.
I agree, Doctor. Hey, remember when, you and some of the Voyager crew went to that one, planet that had the fighting tournament thing, and he was the only one that realized something was wrong? Maybe he has a point about these things. And for these episodes, we get Janeway's best hair. Great.
Enough energy for a dozen stars. It doesn't match any phenomenon in our database, and it won't sit still.
God, it's been so long since I heard her voice. Since Prodigy is no longer coming out every week. That's such an ugly ship. There's the hair that I'm used to. I keep forgetting that his room is basically just a Santa Fe hotel, because they had no idea what else to make his room. The gloves aren't going to be there. Ooh. Don't even try with Vulcan, dude. You think you were going to win that one?
La, la.
Music lessons?
I would have loved the musical episode of Voyager. The most we got was the episode Virtuoso.
When I was a boy,
My father took me into the city to see a marching band.
along the way, a couple of them started sounding just like Chakotay.
This was after Tommy Boy got demoted.
I'm filing a grievance with the Delta Quadrant Boxing Commission. This bout came out of nowhere. There's some sort of scheduling mix-up. You haven't had the time to train. You're not...
No! God, we almost had an episode without Neelix. Maybe that's what ruined it. Man, he's having a lot of trouble putting that coat on.
An upper spinal cord, yes!
God, this episode makes it so obvious that, like, half of these actors came from theater.
Emotion, neurologic dysfunction, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, loss of balance and coordination, loss of memory. Starting to sound familiar.
I like that scene, and only that scene so far. You're on the wrong side of the barricade, B'Elanna. I'm starting to realize I'm just not a fan of any episode that centers around just one character with no B-plot.
It's hard to follow.
God, the background music just gets worse.
Okay, let me back in the ring. Let me...
I forgot why Tom was there. I was like, wait, why is their pilot helping? I had to remember, oh right, he's the nurse with no experience in medical.
This speed, we should see daylight in about 2 months.
You're not gonna see daylight at all. It's space, Tom Paris. Man, they really put a lot of blush on her in this episode. And Seven. The makeup artist just wanted to go all in with the blush this time.
Aliens who exist on some perceptual wavelength that our senses can't detect. And the only way for them to communicate with us is to alter our senses. Chakotay's bad gene gave them the opportunity.
God,
What are you
it's such
proposing?
an incredible
Remember the
concept for
Two of
such
their
a
crew
bad
members claimed they were
episode.
seeing things.
This episode could have been so good. God, this episode just makes me mad because it could have been great. Like Threshold, there is no fixing that. That's just a bad concept, bad execution, but it's funny to make fun of. Like, it's great. It's a fantastic masterpiece of an episode. This is wasted opportunity. The Maquis Mauler. What an awful name to choose, Chakotay. I mean, I guess the chaotic space aliens did take a better name, but I mean, they don't know anything about boxing. They can get away with having a bad name. God, they look so cool, too. Yay. Awful shit back into regular space. I love Voyager ship dynamic the most out of any cast, like, ever in existence of any TV show. I love how the Federation, like, groundkeeper is just a part of this simulation for some reason. Yeah, it was, of course it was going to end like that. That was the fight. Great concept, but horrible execution. Except for Robert Picardo. He had a fantastic performance that episode. But everything else about it sucked. Now it's time to move on to a fantastic episode. The best rated episode of Voyager, which, it's so good. The concept and the execution was just fantastic. The best rated episode is Season 6, Episode 12, Blink of an Eye, at a 9.1 rating on IMDb. And God, I'm so excited to watch this one. It's great. It's fantastic. It's such a good episode. So, let's watch it. Let's watch Blink of an Eye. God, it's such a cool looking planet, too. This poor guy, like, was so convinced that he gave the wrong fruit as an offering. Look at that. Oh, look at that bunch of exotic, unique alien fruit that you can't find anywhere else. It's again only like one Star Trek opening. And we'll get to that next video in this series. Unpopular opinion, or popular, I don't know if the general opinion is ironic or unironic. Someone once described it as a spoon, and that is what it looks like. Meanwhile, the Discovery is a pizza cutter. If I had to pick a ship I think looks the best, it would be the Enterprise NX-01. I think that ship looks pretty good. I know it doesn't make any sense because that's probably a dangerous thing, that bright light source back there, but I get so frustrated that it doesn't go into the bright light source. Wow, how many gods do they have if there's a god for every star? What's that? Is that just Borg decoration to make Seven feel at home?
Unless we want to live our lives in the blink of an eye.
She said it! She said the name of the episode!
Watch them discover new and better ways of beating each other over the head.
They won't necessarily follow the Klingon model.
You two did the same thing.
Bad fortune to eat the fire fruit.
According to whom?
Why is it called the fire fruit? Is it spicy? I like some. I feel like fire fruits would have a nice crunch to them. That balloon's not going to make it up to space. Can you imagine if it did hit that? Would it go up like that if it follows the planet's speed? Had to change camera angles to charge my phone. God, it's so fascinating watching entire culture and civilization just grow out of a ship in the sky.
Say hello.
How could they possibly speak our language?
Seems like this organization really needs a Hoshi.
What should I say?
Oh, glad to meet you. Where are you from? Please stop shaking our planet.
God, I get attached to these short characters we only see for, like... Because... God. The writers for this episode made such good characters we only see once and then never again.
Well, we've got to let them know we're not doing it on purpose.
Inadvisable. The Prime Directive still applies.
You've already interfered! The Prime Directive is thrown out the window. You've already interfered and they already know you're there.
Ancient mythology. That means we've already insinuated ourselves into their culture. Why not take the next step?
See, Chakotay, the Prime Directive.
We've already made first contact.
Yes,
they know we're up here.
Exactly. I'm on Chakotay and Tom's side. Which is funny because I usually am always on Tom's side. Despite how much I hated him at first.
But the physiological stress could be fatal.
For one of you, perhaps. But not for me. My holomatrix would be unaffected.
Time for the doctor to get down there and somehow have a family.
I'm giving you access to your facial and epidermal parameters. You should be able to mimic the appearance of whoever's down there in a matter of seconds.
What if they're big purple blobs of protoplasm?
Then you'll be the best-looking blob on the planet. I'm keeping you down there for 3 seconds, Doctor. That'll be almost 2 days in their time frame.
Oh, no, it won't.
Gather whatever data you can. Seismic charts.
He's gonna be down there for like 30 years.
Anything that might give us a clue.
Go ahead, Commander.
Have you picked up any information regarding opera houses or concert halls?
The cultural center of the state runs along the shore of the Eastern Lake.
Got him.
They're like, of course he'd be there. God, what an unfortunate what would have happened if they took him there in the middle of a performance.
Marisa.
She was my roommate.
Oh my god, they were roommates?
How does this sound? It's a weird planet where time moved very fast, and so did the people who lived there.
Naomi.
By Naomi Wildman.
The poor second astronaut. At least she lives to know who and what is up there. At least her biggest question is answered. Why is she drinking tea? Her thing is coffee. I'm the one that drinks tea. She's the one that drinks coffee.
Make my life always bright.
Voyager needed a musical episode. I had a dream that Voyager had a musical episode, and then it was very sad when I woke up and it wasn't real.
Find out what happened to a boy named Jason Tabriz.
Jason? An unusual name.
Yes. He was my son.
But you're a hologram.
It's a long story.
I would like to hear that long story, Doctor. God, imagine being, like, an actual demigod. being able to tell people you're distantly related to this sky ship.
I'm afraid it'll be a while before my people actually join the rest of the galaxy.
I want them to come back for Prodigy. Can you imagine how far they advanced by Prodigy's time? Oh, and the next episode is Virtuoso, so that's another great episode. God, that episode is so good. The fight sucked. I didn't even enjoy making fun of it that much. But, God, Blink of an Eye is such a good episode. Like, it's just the perfect Star Trek episode. It has everything that makes a good Star Trek episode. And it's so good. Voyager, hands down the best Star Trek ever in the entire franchise. The cast is fantastic, their dynamic is great, and the episodes are so good. And yeah, it takes a while to get into them, but I mean, it's just... It's so good. The show is so good, and Captain Janeway is the best captain. There is no arguing that. And you're not allowed to disagree. And I was watching the best and worst rated episodes of Star Trek Voyager, and next time is the final episode of, well, the final video in the series until any of the new tracks are done and finished, which I'm guessing it's gonna be Picard. That's after we watch Enterprise, because that one's only gonna be 3 seasons, so it's probably going to end before the others do. But yeah, we're gonna be watching Enterprise next time. I'm not really looking forward to that. So once again, I don't like a lot of episodes that center around one character, which is why I don't like Discovery, because the entire show is centered around one character. I also don't like Picard that much, because it's all centered around Picard. But, the Enterprise best rated is entirely around Archer with no B-plot. So it's season 3 of Enterprise, so and then the worst rated is season 4 of Enterprise. And I hate both of those seasons so much. I think seasons 3 and 4 of Enterprise really paved the way for the gruesomeness of Star Trek Discovery and Picard, and really paved the way for strictly linear storytelling. And I think that's really plagued the franchise, and was almost saved by Lower Decks. And Prodigy's been doing pretty good at being, like, bordering between episodic and serialized, which is what, like, post-TNG Star Treks were, until season 3 of Enterprise. Yeah, you're gonna hear me just go on and on about how much I hate seasons 3 and 4 of Enterprise next time, which is gonna be such a huge, 180 from this video where I'm just praising Voyager the entire time. Even the fight, I was praising things in the episode The Fight, and that might be like second place to Shades of Grey in bad Star Trek episodes. But yeah, that's it for this one. And I'll see you in maybe 3 more months for Enterprise.